see this shit all the fucking time at one of our local clubs.
Oh, shit. I have a feeling we're going to have an interesting show. Hopkins, you were fired up, aren't you?
Yeah, kind of, now.
My name's Matt Hopkins, and I'm mad about stuff.
It's a new Angry Matt.
Well, the other Angry Matt is a big fucking blue ball. Like, that guy never gets mad. I want him to get mad. It's like, let's get mad about shit. And he's
he
like,
can't get mad. He's got my mug on his shirt now.
That's hilarious.
That's a don't worry, be happy shirt.
Actually.
all right, welcome to the Practical Pistol Show. My name's Ben Stegger, here to answer your shooting questions. Today we have Grandmaster Tim.
Hey, what's up?
Grandmaster Nick.
Hello, guys.
And Angry Matt.
Hi.
All right, we already had discussion in the pre-show when I was teeing up the topic. So I got an email from a guy, and he asked me in the email not to identify the match. So we're not going to do that. But I've linked up the guys on stage results, and the stage results show a stage. These guys don't know exactly what the stage was, but in the email it says it's there's some 50-yard shooting or whatever. All right, 2/3 of the people in the match zeroed the stage with a fairly substantial number of shooters. 2/3 of them zeroed it. So the first question the guy asks is that a bad stage or is that shitty shooters? Matt, since you're the maddest, you get to go first. When you see that level of zeros, and like almost everybody had penalties, at least penalties, most people zero it. So what do you think? Shitty shooters?
I'd say that's bad stage design. Because you got to cater to your group that you're shooting there. And you can make shit so hard that it's impossible for no matter who it is to do.
Yeah, just like move the targets further away and eventually...
Well, yeah, eventually you'll run out of... You gotta shoot fucking rifles.
Yantola, your initial reaction to this?
My initial reaction is suck it up, buttercup.
Come on,
but
really?
I'm looking through the results.
Well, that's not... Yes.
Without identifying the match, I'm going to make 2 points about a couple things.
But hold on with the suck it up, buttercup stuff. That, like, obviously, we're all crybabies. This is the internet. Right. That's what happens.
Okay. Everyone has to make the same shots. Do they not stage the same for everyone?
That was being disputed. What the guy was saying is this bad stage design? Is that what we're bitching about? Or are we bitching about shitty shooters? Because obviously we're going to be bitching about something.
Okay.
So what's the problem here?
Well, that's good. It's a good question. So we're going through two things. I'll just something that I think I'm interpreting these match results correctly. So I'm looking at the times, then I'm looking at the classifications of the shooters that are zeroing it versus not zeroing it. And there's not really a lot of differentiation between those two things for this entire field. So you got the top third here that didn't zero it. They got a mix of classifications. They got a mix of times, obviously. But the people who zeroed it don't really have like slower times. Don't have like horrendously worse classifications. There's plenty of A and above shooters here that zeroed it. So it looks to me like some people just can't pull the trigger and some people can.
Suck it up, Buttercup. Tim.
Yeah, Buttercup.
What do you think?
I don't know. I think stage designs that are like purposely designed to like fault a shooter to a respect like that, I think you're just doing a disservice to everybody that shoots that match. I don't like it. I think when you're trying to set a match up, I'm going to set this stage up so difficult, so hard that literally not even a third can even shoot it for a score, let alone without zeroing it.
All right.
I don't like that.
But I'm glad that we went down the line and talked to everybody first, because I thought all of us would agree that just on its face, this is bad stage design. I thought that we'd say, hey, this is bad stage design for sure, but let's figure out where the line is, like how hard it should be. But luckily, Yantola, you have surprised me, sir. So then my question for you would be, okay, suck it up, Buttercup, you bunch of crybabies. How what would that result sheet need to look like for Nicky Antola to say, yeah, that stage is a little fucked up. Like, it's too hard. What would you need to see?
Like, I can't really say that I'm going to be able to look at a page results and ever say that, because I probably don't have enough information just based on the results, man. Like, come on. The stage is the same for everyone, right? Is it not? Everyone had the opportunity to step to the line and make those shots.
Yes, they did.
Why does the way the scores pan out, in and of itself, have to say that the stage design is bad? If I didn't see the stage, maybe there's some, I can maybe go look at the stage and then decide it's bad based on, some other factor like, like target presentations or whatever that aren't fair in ways that we've talked about recently.
Target rulebook or
no, this was
right.
Okay,
So,
let's say the stage
excluding stuff like that.
Let's say the stage is fair.
Yeah, if the stage
what would you
is fair,
have to see for it to be stupid?
I don't know. I'm probably not going to.
If everybody zeroed it, would you say that's a stupid stage?
At that point, maybe.
Maybe.
You still had.
For real?
You still had. Everyone's not going to zero
What the fuck are you talking about?
Everyone's not going to zero it. Okay. I've shot a stage like this at a club match. It was. I don't know if this is the stage. Maybe it is. I don't know. But it was a classifier stage that had a bunch of strong hand weekend shooting. It's a very long distances. I don't remember what it was. It was very early in my USPSA career. I think it might have been like the very first USPSA match I ever showed up to. And I think I'm not sure if I zeroed the stage. I'm not even sure I understood exactly how the scoring system worked at that time. But, a lot of people, it was...
How many seconds do you guys add if I drop a point?
It was part-time. It was part-time strings at different ranges, like strong hand, weak hand, that were long ranges.
It is unlikely that you zeroed it.
Okay.
If it was fixed time.
So that's another argument. If this was a fixed time stage, it'd be totally different.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes. You mean if they designed the stage differently, it'd been different.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. So the fixed time stage, you're right. You can't really zero that one. So
I don't want to say you can't zero it.
Right. Well, some people might. Probably not 2/3. Probably not 2/3 against zero. I don't know, man. I mean, why do you have to have like all easy stages?
You don't have to have easy.
Whoa. Nobody said that.
Whoa. You got to cater to the people. It comes out to a point where you get out there and you shoot, and it's not fun. You're shooting something crazy that's unheard of. Man. And you're shooting a handgun with a 4-inch to 6-inch sight radius.
Yeah.
I look at a stage
stuff
like
out there that's crazy.
Fuck this stage. Fuck this stage. I hate it. It's like getting the state, like having appropriate stage difficulty is something that's a great thing to do. Having a few penalties, with some long shots, some tight shots, some close shots, like mix it up, man. When you make it hard enough that it's stupid, it's not fun anymore. It's really not fun, and then a stage like this becomes a non-stage for the match. Like when most people zero it, then what was the point of shooting it? It's not really generating a lot of match points.
That stage isn't even a make or break for the match for anybody.
It made stuff a lot tighter in the results. I can guarantee you that.
That's true.
About the top 10% here gained a lot of ground in the field on this stage.
Yeah, they did. That's a lot. Yeah. It made them way closer than the results should have been.
So like on its face, like this stage is retarded hard. If the stage is hard enough where, I had a group that we, I didn't shoot, but there was of my 12-person class, there was one stage they shot at a match where one dude shot the stage without a penalty. And to me, that's like that. Like looking at the shot difficulty on that stage, it was like retarded. It was harder than anything I've seen at the last. I've seen one harder stage at a USPSA Nationals ever. Maybe it was harder. Maybe I would say I've seen one stage equal to it in terms of difficulty. So like when you see a stage like that, when it's like we're gonna put stuff like 25-yard zebra targets all over the place, and you get one dude in a squad to get through without a penalty, like that's harder than it needs to be. When it's to the point where 2/3 of the people are zeroing it, that's stupid.
Well, and that's the thing. I mean, you look at like USPSA Nationals. that's kind of like the big claim to fame is you should be able to go to nationals and all should be able to make the shots or to be able to run the stage regardless of skill level. Now, granted, that's not being said.
No, I don't
like
really. No, I don't care about that.
GM score, but that's. I mean, at least the stages are shootable. You know what I mean? It's not so ridiculously hard that it's like, okay, we're going to put 16 targets out there, and they're going to be 50 to 60-yard headshots only, with no shoots surrounding all three. That to me, that's
that would be stupid to the point where the best guys in the country would be racking up penalties like crazy,
right.
And it's like, why are you putting them? Why are you doing that? Like,
Suck it up, dude. Suck it up.
Suck it up.
I'll say this as well, though. I mean,
Nick would say, well, the targets are the same for everyone. Are they not? Are they not the same?
They are they not?
Like, yes, you shot the same match as me, motherfucker. You should know how retarded it was. What are you talking about?
Here's the thing, like nationals, though, I don't know. You know, my nationals experience is not extensive, to say the least, but the shot difficulty, the individual shot difficulty in nationals that I was at was certainly not like above and beyond any other matches I shoot. I've shot much harder shots in several other matches.
I know of one that was very tough, and only one dude out of the top 16 shot it clean. 2011 in Vegas, where they just basically put a no shoot on every target. You remember that, Ben?
Yeah, I was there.
Yeah, it was borderline retarded because.
Well, no, okay, so
no one got out of there. Yeah.
You'd look at that and you'd say, well, you look at that match and you're like, that match was so hard. Like out of the top 16, one dude shot it without a penalty.
Yeah.
All right, then let's take it to a stage where pretty much everybody got penalties on just that stage. And then imagine if you made the whole match like that. I wonder if Nick would be, well, suck it up, Buttercup. Or he'd be like, well, maybe we should back this off a little bit, guys.
Well, I think a good match has a good mix of stages, right? I mean, obviously you don't want the whole match to be shooting dimes at 50 yards. But if you want to mix in a stage like that every now and then, I don't have any problem.
Or if you want to mix in a stage, like I have no problem with shooting if you want to shoot 50 yards and do like a fixed time stage, whatever. Like the standard stages, those aren't really punitive. It's just you kind of get what you can get for the points. I think it's nice to, put at Area 3 a couple times, Matt, they've had, 40, 50 yard steal in the middle of a field course, and that's totally fine. I don't have a problem with hard shots.
Yeah, you can't put everything at 50 yards and make it where it's impossible to shoot.
Like putting everything at 50 yards
out there is fine.
Yeah, it's fine. Putting everything at 50 yards makes about as much sense as putting stuff at 5 yards. Right. It's like, well, that's kind of pointless. Like,
but you got a lot of that.
Hose Fest.
Yeah, you got a lot of that.
People love Hose Fest.
A lot of that.
I guess my question would be then, honestly, in this regard to, say, this stage, was what was the level of shooter that decided to design this stage?
I don't know.
And the reason I ask that is because it's generally stages I see like that, especially here locally at home, are generally designed by guys that are like D or C class guys that think they're going to somehow slow the fast guys down by making everything that hard. But then the problem is they realize real quick is they kind of they shot themselves in the foot, so to speak, by a stage that nobody can shoot. And you generally find out that the cream, the cream of the crop kind of rises. The guys that they thought they were going to screw ended up kind of being the guys at the top of that stage anyway.
Better shooters are usually better at everything.
It is generally not. I would say this one thing: it is generally not high-level shooters that I would see setting up stuff like this.
Right.
Because they kind of know where the line is, as far as like what shots are makeable, what shots are tight, and then what shots are hard enough that it's like, yeah, I can't promise you that I can do that every time in a match under pressure. Like I can't promise you I'm going to deliver on that. That's true. But then another point I would make is I don't see a lot of high-level shooters setting up matches either way.
That's
just to go over what Tim said is, if the dudes are setting it up to try to fuck with the best dudes at the club, what do you think it's going to do to everybody else that's shooting that match?
Well, they just end up fucking everybody.
It's going to make it completely unfun for them, and the good dudes are probably still going to be able to do it.
Yeah, no, that's a point I'll concede
here. You got to set it up for your audience that's there, and the top dudes in the club don't make up the most amount of shooters in your club, so set it up for the average shooter there, where they can accomplish it, or at least have a feeling they accomplish it. Don't put a fucking 8-inch plate out at 50 yards with a no-shoot behind it, because they're going to fucking either...
Have you actually seen that?
We've seen close.
Yeah, it's been pretty
honestly,
bad.
We've seen pretty
All right,
close.
Nick.
Dude, they're going to shoot like 10 fucking no-shoots.
Well, hold on. Hold on.
Magazines.
Hold on. Let's run it by Nick. Nick, plate at 50 yards with a no-shoot behind it. Is that legit? Is that suck it up buttercup or no?
It's still a skill-based shot.
It is fucking retarded.
Behind it, in front of a no-shoot?
It's retarded.
It's kind of retarded. But
it's retarded.
It's still, everyone still has to make the same shot.
I'll tell you what, that shot is shot is hard enough that what I would likely do in that match is shoot one shot where I'd like sling one out at the berm where
so
I definitely
no-shoot.
I would miss the no-shoot and I would not even engage the plate. That's what I would do. That's how hard it is. Is that legit?
I mean, that specific scenario is so extreme, it sounds ridiculous. Okay, but like I said, that's the kind of thing where I'd actually like to see this stage and know whether the shots are, makeable or not. And I'll just go back to my original point here. It's like I said, there's a wide range of classifications that both zeroed this and did not zero it. So I just think that makes me suspect that it wasn't really like skill level dependent in terms of like none of the D class guys could possibly make the shot.
I can't tell you what the stage was because I don't want to identify the match.
Right.
But I can assure you it was skill based, and you would not look at the shots you wouldn't look at the shot difficulty and be like, yeah, that's unfair, that's fucked up. Especially based on your previous comments, you wouldn't have a problem with it.
Okay. There's plenty of B-class guys who did not zero it.
You would have no issue with this stage, I'm sure.
Okay.
I mean, you'd probably zero it, I'm going to be honest, but you wouldn't...
But plenty of B-class guys that didn't zero it. I mean, what are we talking about here, though, as far as, like, hit factor? But,
we're talking top 30%.
top 30% with a hit factor of, say, what? What would be the high hit factor for the stage, then? Like a 1.5? Just theoretically, who knows?
All right.
That's kind of one of those things, then.
There's one more thing I want to throw out there. Not for you, Nick, because you're different. But for you other two guys, you other two animals, if this stage is clearly hard enough or whatever that it's bad stage design, it's dumb, where do you draw the line? Like, how do you know where to draw the line? Hopkins.
I think if a certain number of people cannot do it...
What does that mean? Like, when you say can't do it, like, how do you know?
Matter what, probably half the dudes that zeroed that stage couldn't step up there and do that stage, no matter what. Like, you give them 10 tries, they're going to zero it 9 out of 10 times. That's ridiculous.
Okay, so if half the people zero it, that's too many.
Yeah, I'd say that's a good number.
A third of people zeroing the stage is fine.
A third? Yeah, that's fine.
I don't know. It's less than half.
That's fine with me too.
I'm trying to figure out the Hopkins rule of thumb. So for match directors who listen to this, 50% can zero it, you say.
It still might be stupid, but
Jesus Christ!
I don't think I've ever participated in a stage where half the people zeroed it. I'll say that.
You know what you'd say.
Suck it up.
Buttercup. All right, Tim. What's the Tim Heron rule of thumb? If a stage is too hard or too silly or whatever.
Honestly, I think it's kind of the same way kind of with Matt.
Half of them zero it.
If 50% zero at the stage, dude, there's something really screwy about the stage design it's going to make the stage just absolutely, it's going to be impossible to like that stage. I don't care if you're a GM or if you're, a C-class guy. You're not going to walk away with that stage and be like, yeah, I nailed it. I like that stage. nobody's going to walk away from that stage thing. I like that stage. You know, and I would say honestly, if you were the stage designer and you were setting up a stage, if you couldn't, let's say we're not even putting a timer in on it. If you couldn't hold 2 alphas at any of the given targets without, without time even being of prevalence, it's probably too hard of a stage.
Harder than it needs to be.
Right. I mean, does that make sense? Like, if you couldn't seriously just slow fire group shoot 2 A's into every single target you're setting up there, you're probably setting up shit that's entirely harder than it needs to be.
Well, yeah, that ends up being not fun. I like that. That's a good rule. I'm not sure
if it's not fun, don't set it up. Man,
sounds like more content from the target presentation book. Doesn't exist.
Yeah, we do need to get working on that, Nick.
Well, what is it? Mike Foley said something on the duty forum that I thought was funny. He's like, if people just didn't act like cunts, we wouldn't need a rule book. So yeah, if people just didn't set up stages like cunts, then we wouldn't need to talk about it. But whatever.
Well, didn't you also say something along the line if people just were nice all the time, we wouldn't need a rule book either? Or,
shit, if people were just nice, we wouldn't need to have police.
We wouldn't have USPSA. Oh, people were nice, right?
That's probably true. All right. Good talk, guys. And that went a little differently than I expected. So we got a couple shooting questions. Good morning, Ben. I have a question I think might be good for the podcast. I'm just guessing Nick is going to know the most about this of any of us. When doing live fire training in the South during the summer, actually most any time of year, my gun gets very hot very quickly. I try to practice as efficiently as possible, but I'm worried about heating up my barrel so much it will cause damage. Is this something I should be worried about? And if so, do you have any tips to mitigate the heat while training efficiently? Thanks to you and all your guests for all the entertaining and informative podcasts. Nick, you're an engineer. You're the smartest guy here.
As a non-metallurgist,
Shut up.
non-expert in this topic, I don't think you can shoot enough ammo through your USPSA pistol to get the barrel hot enough to do heat damage to the barrel, regardless of what the ambient temperature is. I don't think you got to worry about that at all.
For me, I always get my guns hot enough that I can't handle it.
If I can't pick it up and be comfortable, you go to the other one.
Right. But look at, seriously, look at, rifles get way, way hotter when you shoot rifles.
Rifles you can damage.
Yeah, you can, but, when you damage them, you can literally, cook a steak on the barrel. You got flames and smoke coming off of them, that kind of deal. And when they cool down, they're just fine. So, you're not generating the kind of heat in a USPSA handgun that you are with a rifle. Not even the same ballpark at all. So it's not a concern. I would not worry about it in the least.
But my 132 power factor loads are going so fast.
Yeah.
All right, Tim, what do you think?
Honestly, I really don't know. I've never really thought that through that much. I mean, when my gun's too hot to handle, I would just set it down and let it cool down for a few minutes and then come back to it, or grab my backup gun or something.
That's actually I shoot Molly-coated bullets, and I've gotten this year was the first time I had it happen, but I got the feed ramp hot enough in my barrel that it melted the round as it was going up into the chamber, and it wouldn't feed anymore. Like it wouldn't feed rounds. But there was no damage from that. It got hot enough that happened. What I do, I have 2 guns with me at the range, so I just when one gets really hot, I just shoot the other one for a while. I do what Hopkins says, go to the other one.
I don't need to do that. I throw some lube on there, keep on rolling.
My gun is too hot for me to touch.
Suck it up, man.
There you go.
I'm sorry, suck it up, Buttercup.
I don't know. Mine.
Pussy.
No, I've been practicing. I don't know when this is going to air, but this is a couple weeks before nationals. I'm practicing as hard as I can, regardless of what the weather is. I've been out in 100-degree weather practicing about 3 or 4 times recently. Yeah, the gun gets hot. I don't care. I just keep going. The only part that really gets to me too hot to really touch is like the front side serration. So when I rack it, I just go rack it fast so I don't burn myself. That's it. Whatever.
Kind of racket.
No, I've had
Small blisters on your fingers are okay, but man, those big blisters, they suck.
when the heat comes down the frame onto the bottom of the trigger guard, that's when I'm like, yeah, I'm done with this.
You must be shooting a lot more than I am, sir.
I melted a bullet on its way into the chamber.
Yeah, well, I use plated bullets, so I don't got to worry about that kind of mess.
I can't afford that shit. Ain't nobody got cash for that. I'm a working man, sir. All right, let's move on to the next email. I used to flick you the bird during your podcast when you ripped into Glocks. All right, just...
Oh, my God.
What the fuck is this guy talking about? Do I rip into Glocks?
I don't think so.
I'm the guy saying, no, you can be competitive with the Glock. Just shoot the Glock. It's fine. If you like the Glock, shoot the Glock. Hopkins, am I ripping into Glocks?
I think they're good guns.
I think he's thinking of the SIG 320s.
Hey, come on
What?
now. Knock
What?
that shit off. There's nothing wrong with the SIG 320 either. It's a fantastic pistol.
Or maybe P30Ls. I don't know. But I don't think I rip on
Definitely
Glocks.
rip on, dude.
I rip the shit out of those. Whatever. Anyways, just having received my AccuShadow, I now must wholeheartedly agree with your comments. But the comments that I apparently am too drunk to remember having made. I don't know. I don't know what comments he's fucking talking about. If I place the trigger of the CZ close to my first knuckle versus the center of the pad for the DA first shot, my hits are pretty much on the money, and there's virtually zero sight movement in live or dry fire. The placement does not appear to have any disadvantage when firing in single action for subsequent shots, but I've always used the center of the pad, and Matt said on one of the podcasts he does as well. Is this something I should work on changing? As a side note, every time I tried really gripping the Glock, as you always suggest, okay, my shots typically got worse. However, with the CZ, the exact opposite is true, so I'm going to have to chalk it up to the trigger. I don't know what this guy's talking about, because I grip a Glock the same way I grip anything. But anyway, if you guys caught the question, running...
TLDR it for us.
Yeah, so is it okay if he puts up to the first knuckle of his finger onto the trigger to get lots of grab for the double action shot? Is it okay to leave it there for the single action shots?
I'd say it's no problem as long as he's making the shots.
Right.
Hopkins says no problem. Tim, you say?
I say no problem.
Yeah, you shoot a SIG 320 though. That doesn't have this issue.
Nick, what do you think?
Nick.
I mean, I can't say I've ever seen anyone shoot at a high level that doesn't use the center of the pad that I can think of right offhand. But if you're shooting at like, as long as you're not like, I haven't seen everybody. Obviously, I'm just saying I haven't personally seen anyone. I'm not saying there's nobody out there.
I use about the knuckle myself.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, the test I would do would be to shoot, as fast as I can. I would shoot at speed, at range, and make sure you're not pulling the shots left or right. If you're staying down range, like straight down range, windage wise, at 25, 30 yards, shooting 25, 30 splits, then have at it. Performance is what matters at the end of the day.
Yeah, as long as he can do it, it doesn't really matter, I think.
Well, as a guy who uses about the first knuckle for the double action shot, what you'll find happening, you don't have to consciously think about it, but with a lot of practice, when you start shooting fast, I think my finger just kind of slides out onto the trigger a little bit more, because it feels faster there, but typically I'm on about the first knuckle. Almost up to it. I don't use the center of the pad of my finger, just for leverage.
Is that only on the double shot?
No, I just leave it there.
Okay.
I just grab a lot of trigger for the double action shot, and then leave my finger there.
Okay.
And
One thing I would
works
caution
fine.
is leaving it in the knuckle spot for double, and then trying to move it out to the pad for single. Whatever you're doing, just do that all the time, right?
That's what I said, yeah.
Yeah. Just wanted to make sure. That clear.
That's how I feel about it. So, yeah, I think he'll be able to shoot fine. I shoot in the times I have shot CZs, I shoot them that way as well. And the trigger reach is longer than on my gun, so I have to, really grab a lot of trigger to get enough leverage for the double action shot. But yes, okay, good. Anything else, guys? No?
I can't think of anything.
Nope.
All right. Matt and Tim have a class coming. If you want to sign up to that, email timheron@hopkinsshooting.com.
Yep.
And get in touch with one of them.
Definitely.
Nick has matches coming up, and if you want to talk to him, go see him at those matches. If you want to send a shooting question, head over to benstegger.com, send me an email, and I will answer your question for you.